Welcome to our Helbling Mexico and Central American Autumn Festival 2023. My name is Catherine Xu. I'm the Academic Director for Helbling Mexico. On behalf of Helbling, I would like to say thank you and welcome. And on the sidebar, you can see our Helbling team, our General Director, Koen van Landerhan.
Hello.
And our academic consultant, who are also your host on the chat room, Daniela and Luisa. Okay, Daniela and Luisa are going to look after you during the whole event in the chat room. If you have any questions, please just write on the chat room. They will answer you right away. And now I would like to invite Koen to do the welcome talk for us.
Hi, everybody, and welcome and good morning. It's wonderful to see so many people from so many different places. I've seen, I think, every state of Mexico almost represented here. And I know personally, I know many of you, the names that I've seen, I know some of you already because we've met in the past. And thank you for joining us. But then I'm especially giving a welcome to all the new friends, all the new people that we've never met, and I hope to be meeting soon. Also, a very special welcome to Lucia Stuti, who is our Helbling English CEO and who's joining us from Italy. So, as usual, our 5 days and 5 author program is packed with powerful reflections, wonderful ideas, practical activities, and we trust that they will enrich your teaching practice. You may be wondering why the Helbling team is wearing these funny hats. Well, I guess you know. We're celebrating. We are Helbling, and we here in Mexico are officially launching our first course for primary, written by a dream team. We're dedicating the first 2 sessions of the festival to teaching children, and the next 3 sessions will be more about adults and young adults. Now, no matter what segment you teach, I think all the sessions will benefit you in your teaching and will have lots of things to take away and to think about. So if you haven't registered for the other events or the other sessions, please do so now. You should. And with this, I will pass the mic back to Catherine and let her get the session started. Enjoy.
All right, thank you, Koen. Now I'm going to move to the next page about today's schedule. We start our event on time, as you know, as usual, and we will have 5 minutes to do the welcome and talking about the schedule and also introduction. We will start our webinar at 10:05, and it will last about 50 minutes, and followed by a Q&A session and a 3 minutes product introduction of marbles. And you have to stay with us because at 11:05, we have very exciting lucky draw, wonderful prizes. At 11:10, we will say goodbye to you, so you come back to your classes. And after 10 minutes, you will receive your digital certificate signed by Herbert Puchta. So now I'm going to move to a very important part, the author introduction. So today we have Herbert Puchta. Herbert Puchta is an award-winning author and teacher trainer. For almost 3 decades, he has carried out research into the practical application of findings for cognitive psychology to English language teaching. Herbert has written numerous of best-selling course books. On the list, you can see he has the new course for us, the marbles, and the storytelling teacher resource book, and also the new course, psychology for teacher resource, which won of the prize for lucky draw later, and not to mention the very exciting Thinking Trend series. And I have been asking Herbert, what city have he visited in Mexico? And he gave me a long list, which is amazing. He had visited Mexico City, San Luis Potosí, Culiacan, Monterrey, Guadalajara, Toluca, and on and on and on. And I said, have you done any sightseeing? He said, no, I'm always in a conference hall or a hotel or airport. And his dream is he would like to cruise in Mexico with a 4x4 car, so then at least he can climb 1 pyramid. And especially, he actually quite likes spicy food. So we hope we could actually invite him in person and to launch a Helbling Marvel in Mexico. And apart from that, I think what is very important is we want to invite Herbert to turn on his video so he can tell us what is social emotional learning and why it is important. Okay, Herbert, are you with us? Yeah.
Hello, Herbert. You found us. Very good.
Herbert, you need to turn on your microphone. Yeah.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much, Catherine and Kuhn, for your kind introduction. I'm delighted to be back in Mexico, at least virtually, and I'm delighted to see so many of you here today in this session. This is all going to be, as you know, about social emotional learning with young learners. And I've chosen as a subtitle a question: is it more than just a bandwagon? Those of you who go to seminars, conferences, who join webinars frequently, you will probably have noticed that recently there's been an increased interest in the topic of social emotional learning with young learners, sometimes also with teenagers. And people who've been in this profession for a bit longer, they're sometimes a bit skeptical or a bit doubtful, because they know there are topics that seem to be the flavor of the day or the month or the year or what have you, and 2 years later nobody talks about them anymore. So the question is there because I wanted to kind of like give a little food for thought, and also because I know some of you may be feeling, well, it might just be another fad in English language teaching. I personally don't believe so. I think social emotional learning is a very kind of natural next step to what's been developed in ELT, and in particular in the teaching of young learners over the last 20 years, really. And I think it is actually here to stay. I'd like to start with a little anecdote. This is an anecdote about, I think, me and the time when I actually started to teach English, which was about 100 years ago or so. I was actually teaching a group of 13 or 14-year-olds. So it's not directly relevant in terms of working with young learners, but you will see it's very relevant in terms of social emotional learning. So what happened was I had been working with this group for 3.5 years, when suddenly out of the, blue, I got this invitation to become a university teacher. And I was shocked and I was delighted, and all kinds of questions were going through my head. In particular, well, if I accept this invitation to become a university teacher, then I will have to say goodbye to the classes I'm currently teaching. And I loved the classes I was working with, and in particular, that one group of 13, 14-year-olds. Of course, I decided to accept that invitation. So I found myself the next morning with the kids who I'd been working with for 3.5 years. And I asked them to form a circle of chairs. And then I told them, I said, look, this is actually our last lesson, because I'm going to become a teacher at a different school. And it's a school for adults. It's called a university. And so we started speaking about that. And then I said, well, look, I suggest what we do now is that we have a chat and we share with each other stories about these 3.5 years that we've been together with. You can tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. You can share anecdotes, whatever you want to do, as long as it's in English, of course. And then this girl raised her hand, and she was actually one of the best students in class. And she said, you know what? When we actually met you for a very first time, I thought you were cold and grumpy. And I was shocked. To be honest, I was really shocked. So I asked a few questions, and it turned out that actually she said, I was really scared of you for several weeks. I was totally scared of you. And I said, why is that? And she said, you looked so grumpy, you looked so cold. And people who know me know that I'm neither a cold person, nor am I a moody or a grumpy person. But probably I tried to kind of like find out more from her. And what surfaced was that I was probably, when I entered the class, I was probably a bit absent-minded. I was not really aware of the fact that you never get a second chance to create a good first impression. So I was kind of like focusing on something else, and it's frozen. I am reading that the image is frozen, and I can hear the audio is working. I don't know. I have very good internet connection here. I have broadband connection. I'm here in my study in Austria. I'm just hoping that it will be possible to actually get the videos going again. Helbling people, is it frozen for you too?
Herbert, we can only see the page with many kids' hands. We don't see next pages. So
no, you will see the next pages once I move to the next page.
Okay, good. So you can.
Okay. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thanks so much. Anyway, so I wasn't aware how important it is actually to create a good first impression with my kids. I wasn't smiling at them. I wasn't looking at them. I wasn't aware of the importance of what in social emotional learning is called micro messages. And this is something I will come back to you in a minute. I wasn't aware that the good teacher is also a leader. And if you ask me for a definition of leadership, I think what comes closest to what I believe educational leadership is all about, it's about creating a world that people want to belong to. And in educational terms, it's about creating a classroom culture that students want to belong to. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm giving you a little overview here. We're starting out by, and we have done so already, by looking at the teacher who is aware that she needs to create a classroom culture that her students want to belong to. The teacher who is not just concerned with developing the children's language skills, but the teacher who wants to go beyond that and who sees the teaching and learning process as a holistic process. The next point is basically clarifying what we understand by SEL, social emotional learning, and we'll be talking why there seems to be such an important need for such a key need for SEL at the moment. And I will then actually be looking at practical teaching, and we will be talking about how we can combine the key concepts of SEL with efficient language teaching. And there I will be using examples from my new primary course, Marbles. Catherine spoke about that already. It's of course not, I'm not going to give you a product presentation, quite the contrary. I will be talking about the philosophy and the concept of developing social emotional learning with your learners, and I will be using a few examples from Marbles. Now, here's a question for you. When you hear the term social emotional learning, what do you associate with it? Could I please ask you to use the chat box and write down just a few associations, a bit of brainstorming. What comes to mind when you think of social emotional learning? Here we go, please. And make sure you have selected everyone so we can all read it. Behavior, thank you, Maria Elena. Emotions, yes. Secure atmosphere, take care. Humanistic approach, motivation, resilience, feelings, care, feelings, emotions, feelings, happy and significant learning, emotions, feelings, students' perspectives, emotions inside and outside the classroom. Absolutely. The environment, the classroom environment, of course, but also the environment out there. Confidence, providing, where was that? Providing, I lost it. Providing the right, oh God, I lost it because you're so fast. Self-esteem, good company, feelings, yes. The student's background, their own history, learning history, trust, yes, absolutely. Behavior, emotions and feelings, control of emotions, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much, and sorry for not being able to read out all your contributions. Let me look into this a little bit. So what is CEL? This would be a definition of social emotional learning, and you will see that all the things you have said, they really fit very well what this definition is all about. CEL is an approach to teaching that helps develop young learners' well-being and academic performance. And that is very important because some people believe, well, social emotional learning is basically all about emotions and relationships. But that's a very important part of social emotional learning. It's one side of the coin. The other one is actually the children's learning. And we can see that when we look at the various areas that are part of the concept of social emotional learning. A positive classroom culture, first of all. Secondly, developing what is called the skill of empathy. I'm not telling you anything new here, of course. The ability to help our learners to put themselves into the shoes of others. I think there is no successful language learning nor using another language without the ability of putting myself into the shoes of the people who I'm communicating with, but also in the shoes of the people who speak this language as their first language. All the inter and intra and cross curricular skills, cross cultural skills that we expect our students to develop, they have to do with empathy, of course. The next point is about self-management, and self-management is extremely important when it comes to developing the students' academic skills. Social awareness, the learner and learning a language is, of course, a social endeavor. They are not learning a language in an isolated fashion, nor are they learning it to be isolated, as we know, quite the contrary. The next point goes hand in hand with that. Relationship skills, extremely important. We need our learners, we need to help our learners to make responsible decisions. It's not something they will be able to learn within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or what have you. Learning to make responsible decisions is actually part of lifelong learning, as we know. And last but not least, maybe the highest level of learning, something the ancient Romans used to talk about, se ipsum novice, know thyself in Middle English, self-awareness. All right. I have said it already, and you have said it. It's about emotions on the one hand, but on the other hand, it is about developing cognitive skills. It's about developing self-management skills. It's about helping our learners to learn more successfully. So the teacher, the successful teacher, is a bit of a tightrope walker in many ways. And this is something that Nan Gao in a very recent publication actually stresses when he says, when teachers focus more on academics and fail to create a positive social learning environment, students are likely to be emotionally disengaged and worried about making mistakes. Contrarily, when teachers focus more on the social dimension and neglect the intellectual dimension, students possibly experience low cognitive engagement for learning. We want both. We want emotional engagement, we want cognitive engagement, and we want our students to achieve highly in all these areas. Marilee Sprenger, in her book, Social Emotional Learning and the Brain, maintains that every child has a story, and that story is their very own story, the story of their life. This story includes experiences from very early on throughout their lives so far, from their time as babies and toddlers, the emotional warmth they felt or missed, the interactions they became part of, the remarks that relevant others made about them, relevant others such as parents, such as older siblings, and the praise or the lack of praise that they received. All this, of course, has a huge effect on them. Now, then there are the beliefs that they have sensed that their relevant others, their moms and dads and other people close to them, have about them. Many of those beliefs have become and will become the child's own beliefs, beliefs about themselves, positive and negative ones. And the story goes on, and the story includes you. And in many ways, the time that the children spend with you, the relationships you manage to create with your students, the way the students behave, as some of you have said, the way they think and they feel and they learn, the trust they have in others, you, their classmates, all that is influenced in one way or another by their own stories. And that also includes, of course, the trust they have in themselves. Now, you have, and we all have, as people who work with young learners, we have an opportunity to help rewrite some of those stories and reinforce others. And that, I believe, is what's unique about being a teacher, especially a language teacher. The story includes our learners' sense of well-being, of course, too, but it goes far beyond that. And this is a question I have for you now. Thanks again for taking part so actively in reacting to the first question. Currently, there's a very clear tendency among educators all over the world that points at a pretty strong need to develop social emotional learning. And this is stronger than, say, 10 or 20 years ago. And thank you, Margarita, for agreeing with me. So my question is, what do you think are the reasons? Why is it that social emotional learning seems to be absolutely important now? Technology disconnects us. Students have a different vision nowadays. The wonderful knowledge that you receive and give, lack of role models, Yes, I couldn't agree more. Anything else? Time changes and teaching must as well. Okay. If you're not okay, you cannot learn. I guess we are more aware of how important our emotions are. Students are named a fragile generation. Yes. Stressful environment, absence of moral values at home, technology, peer learning, attention span getting shorter due to technology, people being more lonely, lack of values. This goes fast. The rules have become more flexible. There's more emotional need. Life has become more competitive, absolutely. Behavioral patterns change. The new generation are different, and there is a general lack of value in societies, and so on and so forth. Thank you. I'm from Austria, and not long ago, thank you so much. I'm sorry I cannot go into each and every contribution, but it is wonderful. I'm from Austria, and like a year ago, we had a international conference at the university in Salzburg. And one of the keynote speakers there is a lady who actually comes from Mexico, I think, somewhere in Latin America, I think Mexico. I'll quote her in a moment. So don't forget, this is what young people all over the world have gone through not a long time ago. This is a UNICEF report published last year, the mental health burden affecting Europe's children. Well, this is Europe. I don't know about children in Mexico, but I don't think that these kinds of issues are restricted to Europe only. Of course, we have a war pretty close to us when you think of the war in the Ukraine. Things like that also has an impact on children. Now, sorry, the lady is actually from Canada. I got that wrong. Jennifer Adams. From Ottawa Carleton. And what she said, I think what's driving demand for cell is the times we live in. There are deep fractures in societies for different reasons, and the space for reasonable conversation seems to be disappearing, and people are building walls instead of trying to find common ground. I think teachers deal with that every day in communities, whether it's bullying, whether it's countries that are struggling to take in citizens or just temporarily relocating citizens from countries that are war-torn, refugees or migrants. Everyone is struggling with some aspect of how do we create more inclusive communities. And so there is this need, and at the same time, as some of you have said, technology, which can be a blessing, as we know, but it also means that many young learners suffer from problems with attention span. We know that. This is a quotation that comes again from Mary Lee Spranger's book, Social Emotional Learning in the Brain. And she says, cell improves academic achievement by an average of 11%, increases appropriate social behavior, improves students' attitudes, and reduces depression and stress. So in many ways, social emotional learning is a very direct answer, as Monica is saying, kids have family problems sometimes. Not all kids grow up in happy families. So it's a direct answer to many of the issues that you as teachers come across when you care about the learners in your classroom. Let's have a look now at it's an important tool nowadays, Alejandro, absolutely. So let's have a look at how we can combine. Those who know me know that I love theory, and theory is extremely important because it gives us guidelines and it gives us evidence on what works and what doesn't, but we also need to combine theory with what we do in the classroom. Otherwise, we're all sitting in front of our screens now, nodding our heads, but maybe many of the things that we could do are not actually applied in the classrooms. So let's have a look at what we can do. I have, obviously, I mean, I could go on for hours, as you can imagine. I have selected a few examples here. The examples, many of them I have created in a classroom recently or over the last few years. My own grandson. I have to tell you, I live in this sorry, tiny little village in the middle of nowhere in the Austrian countryside. And we have no private schools here, no private language schools. The only school really is a state school. And so I knew my grandson was going to go there, which was no problem whatsoever, because it's actually a very good school. The only problem I saw, that the school is not really famous for teaching English. So I suffered a bit for some time. And then I thought, well, I have to do something about that. So I pulled a few strings with the Ministry of Education. And I said, guys, I'm offering you to teach a class in my local village for free in English for 4 years, 6 to 10, that's primary school in Austria. As long as you give me permission to teach my own grandson, and as long as I can do my classroom research and try out things I develop and things like that. And they immediately said yes, probably I said they didn't need to pay me. And so I was lucky enough, Anna, Elba, absolutely, to teach my own grandson and to develop things with the kids there. I was also, of course, I got into the same situation that you all got, because it was the time of COVID also. So I found myself suddenly having to develop new things when working online and teaching them via Zoom and what have you. But many of the things that I'm going to share with you now that fit this grid of social emotional learning come from that experience. So let's have a look at creating classroom culture that students want to belong to. I love this quotation by former president, US President Theodore Roosevelt, who said, "Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care." When it comes to creating a classroom culture that students want to belong to, we need to connect with them, and we need to care, and we need to show them that we care. And what is so important is what's called in psychology micro messages. The thing I wasn't aware of when I actually came to that group of 13-year-olds, I told you the anecdote many moons ago for the first time. There is a suggestion here: use a welcome chart or a ritual when you enter the class. This is a little video that I found on the web. I think it's a teacher somewhere in Latin America. Her name is Miss Judy. I've put the link there. You can find a few of these videos online these days on YouTube. What she's doing here, yes, I am showing slides. Don't worry, relax. What she's doing here is that she has put up this little poster, and children can select what kind of welcome ritual they want. For example, a fist bump or a high five or a hug, what have you. Let's watch this little video. Thank you, Anna Elba.
Good morning, Ben.
So they select how they want to be greeted by the teacher. And I told you, there is so much research available these days about social emotional learning. And this is one quotation. A recent study suggests that greeting and welcoming students each morning increased achievement by 20% and lowered disruptive behaviors by 9%. Of course, because students feel more welcome. They feel they're part of a nurturing classroom environment. And this is what we give people working with marbles. This is the welcome chart. We have a high five, we have a bow, a handshake, a hug, a crazy little dance is this one here. And this is just waving to the teacher. Let me show you one other strategy I developed with my learners. So what happened was I was teaching this group of 6 to 10-year-olds, and I noticed in the second year, you know, in spite of all my efforts to get them to speak English only, they were a class of, all of them, mother tongue speakers of German. So I noticed that they frequently fell back into German. And so one thing I did was, I said, whenever you say a longer sentence in German, or when I notice that you're really trying hard, or when you say something funny, you can take a marble from this little tray here as a reward. Primary teachers love rewards. Children love rewards. But there is a problem, psychologically speaking, and there is actually a fascinating book that says that is titled "Punished by Rewards," because the problem is often it's certain kids in the class who get the rewards, and this leads to social problems because some children never get a reward. So here's the second part of my marbles reward system. I said to them, so when you get your reward, your marble, you put it in this little box here. And when the box is full, the class will get a surprise present from me. So you see what I did? I took the individual reward idea and I made a community award out of it. So when a learner got a marble and was allowed to put it in the box, then the others said, great, thank you, fantastic. And they actually celebrated the achievement of the other child. So that's one thing that I would highly want to recommend as a social emotional strategy that helps to develop teamwork, absolutely, and increases motivation. Developing self-management skills, that's of course about managing time, managing behavior, learning to cope with negative feelings, learning to cope with stress. I could go on for an hour. Let's just focus on time for a moment. So, you know, the first time I got them, or first few times I got them to write little texts. So for example, I don't know, I was teaching a lesson on food, and they learned things I like, I don't like, I often eat, etc., etc. And then I said, okay, pick up pen and paper, and you have 4 minutes, write a short text, okay? Now, you know what I mean. 3 minutes later, the first few said, finished, while others still had not started. So they have no sense of time management quite often. So what did I do? I put up this little poster on the board. It said, you've still got minutes. And then I took one of those adhesive labels, those stickers, and I wrote down 4 and stuck the little note on this poster, so they saw you've still got 4 minutes. A minute later, I took it off. I put 3 there, then 2 and 1. And of course, they intuitively and quite naturally learn to manage their time if you do it this way. My next suggestion, in connection with what I said previously, I noticed, you know, that they spoke their mother tongue so frequently. So one day I was standing in front of the class, and one of the kids, name was Christian. I said, speak English only. And then, this guy, Christian, raised his hand. He said 3 words in English, and then he spoke German again. And in this moment, I actually had a brilliant idea. I took my mobile phone out and I switched on the timer, the stopwatch on the mobile. And I said, let's try for how long we can speak English only. Do you think we can do that? And they all said, yes. And I started the stopwatch on my mobile. And 12 seconds later, Christian spoke German again, and I had to stop it. And I said, not bad. 12 seconds. Do you think we can do better? And they said, yes, let's try. And this time it was, 24 seconds or whatever. And at the end of the class, it was 1 minute and 45 seconds. And what I did was I had this little, poster like this. I put it on the wall. It said, our world record in speaking English. And I put a little adhesive note there, 1 minute, 42 seconds. Yes, absolutely, Ingrid, I agree with you. There are apps with beautiful clocks that you can use, digital ones, of course. Good question, Darwin. Thank you. Did the other kids get mad at Christian for messing up? No, not at all, because I said, not bad. Let's try if we can do it better. And what happened was that each time we broke the world record, they celebrated. We high-fived each other. And what I noticed was, for example, when Christian raised his hand, other kids said to him in a whispering voice, but speak English, Christian. And I praised them. I actually applauded them for that. And this is how they kind of handled the situation. And at the end of 4 years, our world record was actually 44 minutes and something. So basically a whole lesson. And the kids loved that. And when I occasionally forgot to take out my mobile phone, they said to me, please start your stopwatch. So try this out. It's a great idea to help them with time management. Developing empathy. Developing empathy is about fun, of course, also. The systems in the brain. This is Bruce Perry, neurobiologist, so brain researcher. The systems in the brain that mediate pleasure appear to be closely connected to the systems that mediate emotional relationships. Indeed, this interrelationship, the capacity to get pleasure from other people, creates a major positive learning tool of infancy and childhood. So there's 2 things in there. The first one is having fun together. And the second one I'll come back to in a minute. Young children want to please their teachers. They model adults and children they admire. So 2 things here, fun and modeling people you like and you admire. What do you do to have fun with your learners? Question. Can you type in a few things in the chat box? What do you do to have fun with your learners? Competitions, okay. Playing games using game activities, okay. Gaming, study games, karaoke, singing, dancing, music, contests, songs, game activities, races, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much. Now, do you think I can play you a song? I hope you're not going to say no now. Okay, so this is a song I love, a song my kids love. Pizza is my favorite thing, okay? And of course, we want kids to eat healthily, and we have many lessons where we teach them what is healthy and what isn't. But we also have to acknowledge that many of them love pizza. And here goes with the song.
Oh, let's go to the shops. There's lots of food to buy. My mother wants a lot of fruit and one chicken pie. Oh, let's go to the shops. There's lots of food to see. My dad wants 2 big burgers and a cup of tea. But pizza, pizza is my favorite thing. Pizza, pizza, come on now, let's sing. Pizza, pizza is my favorite thing. Pizza, pizza, come on now, let's sing. Oh, let's go to the shops. There's lots and lots of food. My friends want lots of burgers. They say they are good. Oh, let's go to the shops. There's lots and lots of food. But pizza is my favorite. Pizza's really good. But pizza, pizza
is my favorite thing. And so on and so forth. Okay. Now, we said having fun together, but the other thing is also modeling. And this is something I have become aware of very recently, that when children like and find charming and find funny the children they see on videos, then this has a powerful positive effect on them. Remember what Bruce Perry says in this quotation. They love modeling adults and children they admire. And this is something I would like to show you, where when we developed marbles, we put a lot of thinking and effort and time and know-how into the development of videos that give learners models they might admire and find funny and might find charming. So this is an example from level 1. This is James. And then I'm going to show you Jenny. And this is a short example from level 2. Have a look.
Hello, I'm Jenny and I'm from Brighton in England. Look, this is Brighton. Brighton is cool. This is my cat, Simba. Hello, Simba. She can talk. Hello, girls and boys. I'm Simba, the cat. Meow. What pet have you got?
And we know kids have such rich imagination. They love imitating this first, but then we can get them to maybe not bring their pets to class. That might create a bit too much mess, but get them to bring photos or even a toy, a soft pet, and do the same kind of thing, but play around with the language, bring in a little bit more, and that's lovely. And here is James, the boy, talking about his way home from school.
Hello, I'm Jenny.
Oops, sorry.
Hello. Look how I get home from my school. First, I walk. Then I go by plane. go by boat. And then I go by bus. My house is far, 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 far away. How do you get home from school?
Now, of course, they know that he's not going by train and by bus and by boat and what have you. But it's, I'm sorry, Jose, I have a very good internet connection here. I'm really sorry you couldn't all see it. We actually recording this, so you can watch a recording also. Thanks for actually liking this. Imagination is the name of the game. Yes, they love doing this kind of thing. It's tongue-in-cheek. Of course, they know nobody's going by train and plane and bus and what have you to get home from school. But it's important to kindle their imagination and show them that language learning can be fun. Fostering social awareness, that's another thing. That is serious. Let's look at can and can't. Everybody teaches I can swim and I can't, don't know, ski or what have you. And of course, can, for talking about ability, is important. But can and can't, of course, are also a huge social point, for some people, a problem. So when somebody says, I can't do this, this is often them talking about something that's very frustrating for them. So let's look at these kids here. The first strip, the girl says, I can't paint. And the other one starts laughing and says, no, you can't paint. Lack of empathy. In the second row here, the boy says, I can't skip. And the other one says, it's okay. You can do it. I can help you. You can. Thank you. Now, of course, this is about language, but it's more. It's about social skills. It's about relationship skills, learning to use can and can't in a sociable way. Or here, we're talking about values. Values are so important. Values are about what is right and wrong in life, okay? And they need to learn what is right and wrong in life. We can see that here this girl gets onto the bus and another one says, you can't sit here, and she's frustrated, while this child here says, look, you can sit here. Great, thanks. And now here we have two situations. I want that car, this child says, and the other one says, you can't have it, it's my car. Very typical of what children do. They need to learn to share and to be kind with each other. Oh, my lunch is at home, this girl notices. Here, you can have my lunch. As I said, values are about what's right and wrong in life, and they're learning to think about what is right. That's good, that's not good, can be the start of a little conversation with the teacher and the others in class. Developing relationship skills, learning to pay compliments. That's a nice jumper. Thanks. Your t-shirt's cool. That's a nice bike. Thanks. Your skateboard's cool. That can be done very, very early when their language level is still very limited. Facilitating decision-making. I'm not going to go into this now. But responsible decision-making has to do also with making choices, with setting goals, and with values. And I've shown you one way of teaching values. There are actually two key, powerful ways. The one I'd like to go into a little bit now is stories, okay? Now, stories need to be significantly different when it comes to different age groups. Now, when you think of 6 and 7 year olds, they're very different from let's say 8, 9, 10 year olds. So what I'd like you to do is watch this little story. It's about this little character here. His name is What's It, okay? And his friends, What's It and friends, and see what my co-authors and I have done about this. This is a group of friends, and What's It helps them when they're in problems, in trouble. But sometimes he's also a bit of a, he plays tricks on them. Let's just watch this little video here.
What's It and friends?
Beach adventure.
Oh no! Look at the rubbish! Phew! Well done, guys. The beach is nice and clean.
Yes. Can I have a drink?
Yes, of course you can, Sam.
Oh. Phew. I love apple juice.
Hey, let's play a game.
Oh, what game?
Let's play a guessing game. I'm an animal. What am I?
What's It and friends?
Sorry, I made a mistake here and clicked it too early. But you can see what happens, okay? Then What's It appears a bit later and plays a little trick on them. Then here we have levels 3 and 4, space-time adventures, okay? So this is very different. This is, if you like, a kind of sci-fi story. Stories for this age group, 9, 10, when you look at them, what happens here is they need things that are psychologically more complex. They often like kind of like fantasies. Harry Potter is so popular with, kids before they're teenagers. What is one of the key things is the fight between good and evil. So I'd like to play you this one too, very quickly, and then I'm coming to the end.
Space-time adventures.
Walking in the woods.
Me too. Let's explore.
Oh, be careful, Kota. Oh, hey, look. It's beautiful.
Oh, yes. It's very big.
No, look, there. Don't worry, Beta.
I don't know. Can you see it? What's that? Come here. Let's hide and watch.
Let's run away.
No, let's not.
Wow! It's a spaceship! Oh! Hello!
Hello.
What's your name?
I'm Alto, and this is Beta.
I'm Kota. And what's your name? I'm Mona.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Where's your spaceship?
I'm the spaceship. And I'm a robot. And I can be a car, a boat, a plane, lots of things.
That's amazing.
But I need your help.
You need help? What's the problem?
I'm scared. Scared of Whizzer.
Whizzer?
Yes.
Who's that?
Whizzer is the queen of evil. Look, that's Whizzer.
Oh, don't worry.
No?
This is the planet of the good people.
There's no whizzer here.
Oh, thank you. That's good to hear.
There she is. I'm coming to get you, Mona. Oh, Spike. Go get them. Now!
So the meeting good people and not so good people. And the fascinating thing is there is the queen of evil and her bird, Spike. But fascinatingly, the Spike actually changes his character, and he changes his character because the kids who are good, they help him when he is in trouble, when he is ill. So he gets in touch with somebody caring for him, and then he in the end wants to be good. That's just one aspect of this story, which is psychologically very, very interesting. I'd like to finish off by just quoting my favorite cartoon, my favorite Garfield cartoon, which is about fixed and growth mindsets, okay? And here we have Garfield, who says to himself, I wonder if I could stand on just 2 feet. And here he tries it out and says, hi, this is great, I'm standing, and now I can tap dance and I can reach the tabletop. In comes his teacher and says, Garfield, cats can't walk on their hind feet. You can see the outcome of this educational intervention. And Garfield doesn't say much. The teacher says, see, I told you. And Garfield doesn't say anything. He says to himself, thanks a lot. Now, this is one of the key things. We want to believe in our learners. We want to believe that they are able to walk upright, metaphorically speaking, tap dance, reach the tabletop, and even fly, because they can, they're young learners, they have such a rich imagination. I would like to thank you so much. Over to Catherine and Kuhn. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Herbert. It's been wonderful. It's really, really nice. And I think teacher love all the ideas you've been mentioning. They have been saying, oh, where can we see the video? I'm going to use the marble game, and I'm going to, is Christian going to be complained by his classmates? But all those games are really fun and really excellent tips. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you all.
Yeah, and I remember I've seen a sentence before which actually can summarize the whole talk. Is everyone would like to be recognized, acknowledged, and understood. And I think it's important students actually feel understood by the teacher. And as you mentioned, teacher is a good leader, and then students would like to follow them. And then you just demo the best example for us today. Thank you very much. And now it's the Q&A session, so over to Kuhn.
Okay, Herbert. Well, this was a great session. I think people enjoyed it. They were definitely answering the questions you were asking, so they were quite engaging. What I personally took away from this was this idea that I think the marbles ritual or the marbles reward system and the welcoming ritual, and it's all about celebrating each other's result and celebrating, and the together sharing the same like positive values. So anyway, we're going to ask some questions, two questions, and I got one, which is a question that is very recurring, and it's about teachers speaking English in class. So the question is, I use English mainly in front of the whole class, but children language level is still limited sometimes, and they find it difficult to understand what I say. So what can I do?
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the question. Well, I mean, it is, of course, important to use English in class. There's no doubt about that. As long, I would like to add, as long as children can follow. They don't need to understand every word, but they need to kind of like follow us, because not being able to understand is frustrating. So, of course, we as teachers, we will naturally use what some linguists call foreigner talk. We'll use short sentences and in the early stages use objects and pictures and drawings and mime and gestures and what have you. I found, I mean, if you want somebody to stand up and they are in their first lesson, and you tell them and you say, I want you all to stand up now, but you are not kind of like supporting this, facilitating this by using mime and gestures, of course, children will not understand. So the first thing is that you want to give them the support they need in order to understand. But of course, there are also moments when we somehow will not be able to work without L1. And as Jesus says, well, some people say L1 shouldn't be used in teaching the second language. But there are moments when actually it's extremely difficult without, their own language, which is part of who they are. It's part of their identity. So these days, there's no expert, actually, no authority in ELT who would completely rule out using the mother tongue. I like using a technique that is called sandwiching, where you say a sentence first in English, then you say the same sentence in their mother tongue, Spanish, and then you say the same sentence in English again. And especially for instructions, that's extremely useful. And then after 2 or 3 or 4 lessons, it's like a sandwich, where you have 2 parts, and then in the middle, there's their own language. And after some time, you just leave out the middle part and they will understand. So that's one suggestion.
That's a very good idea. Very, very powerful, I think. For just gradually moving your students to not using the language, but definitely allowing sometimes to use it. Great idea. So I've known you for so many years, Herbert. I think we met about 25 years ago for the first time. Yes. And we
still haven't changed.
I haven't changed. I think I did.
We haven't changed.
We haven't changed. Okay, we haven't changed. But we've evolved. Let's put it this way. We haven't changed, but we've evolved. So anyway, I've seen you with multiple intelligence was the first big thing that I saw you bring into language teaching. Then it was critical thinking, and now it's like this social intelligence and emotional intelligence, these ideas of self-awareness and self-discipline and empathy and caring. It's very interesting. And you said that there are 2 powerful ways of teaching values, because values has also been, along your work that I've been following for all these years, values is always there. And so you said that there are 2 powerful ways of teaching values to children, and you mentioned that one of them is through stories.
Right, right.
But what's the other one?
Well, the other one's got to do with us, the teachers. We need to walk our talk. There is no direct way of teaching values, telling your learners what they should do and shouldn't and mustn't. It actually creates an effect that we often call, in one ear and out the other. If you say to a don't know, a 7-year-old, don't do that, all they hear is do that. And they're tempted to try it out, they are lively and creative and what have you. So one very powerful way is stories, and I showed some stories. I also showed those little cartoons where children think about what's right and what's wrong. But the other powerful way is giving them a model of the behavior we want to achieve. So if you want your learners to become good, empathetic listeners, then we need to show them what it's like to listen attentively. If we want them to be kind to each other, we need to show them and make them feel what it's like when someone is kind to them. So that's the other very powerful way of helping them take on board values.
Okay, great ideas. I think we're running out of time. I wish we had more time. I wish we could meet sometime soon, Herbert, and have some other interesting talks about teaching children. But,
Good. Thank you very much.
Goes over to Catherine.
Yeah, I'm going to manage the time. So thank you, Herbert, and thank you, Kuhn. I think, Herbert, I'm going to give you 3 minutes break for a little bit rest after your very fascinating talk. And I'm going to have 3 minutes introduction of marbles. And here who is going to present marbles? I bring out the big gun, Kuhn. So Kuhn is going to tell us more about marbles. A lot of teachers asking us, where can we get the video? How do we see this product? So here we go, Kuhn.
Okay, well, so marbles. Marbles is a 6-level course that for primary, so one for each year of primary if you want. It follows the CFR, so you go from starters all the way up to flyers if you're interested in the Cambridge exams. And exam preparation is included in the series also, because one of the questions I saw in the chat. Yes, marbles grows with the student. So when your students are 5, 6 years old, when they start primary, of course, their topics will be very different and their interests will be very different than when they are in 6th grade, for example, and when they're 11 or 12 years old. So marbles content grows with the children. The videos change, the stories change, the characters, of course, change, and so on. So what's the purpose of marbles? The goal is to nurture children into rounded individuals and responsible global citizens. Now that's a mouthful of big words: rounded individuals, responsible global citizens. So how do we achieve this? You've already seen with Herbert talking and giving you some of these examples, but we are on the one hand weaving throughout the course life skills, creativity, imagination, digital skills, collaboration, thinking skills, global learning. And here is the social emotional learning and communication skills. Those are skills for life. Those are the skills that the earlier our students learn this, the better they will do in life, not just academically, not just in their exams, just in general as a citizen. So we bring real life plus imagination plus creativity into one big package of real life topics, powerful stories and videos, songs, chants, reps, as you saw in one of the videos, games and challenges and projects. And in projects, we have our students imagine and create and then share with each other. And then, of course, throughout, we have the core values and global citizenship. What's included in the package? Everybody asks all the time. Well, of course, we have a student book and an activity book and a teacher's book. That's the given that you will definitely expect from any course. However, we've made this a much bigger and powerful proposal and solution for you by making everything also available digitally. And that means that you can see your student book and your activity book plus a lot of other things on the Helbling eZone for kids. It is a learning management system that is available and can work on your desktop computer, laptops, tablets, or mobile phones. And that makes it very cute because it makes it easy for students and their parents to share information and play together. So what do we have in the digital tools? The pupils book, the activity book, and they're interactive. So whenever you click on something, you will hear the sound, or you watch the video, or you can fill out the words and so on, and you will see if you make a mistake or not. So you have the pupils book, activity book, flashcards, train to think activities, videos, audio, songs, and teachers' resources, and there are plenty of them. We also have a Helbling Media app, and the Helbling Media app contains all the videos and the audios on your mobile devices. And again, as I mentioned, this brings and makes it easy for the child to bring the songs home and for the parents to play and sing the songs with the children and to see what's happening in the class and the learning that's happening and to share that together with the rest of the family. I can so imagine sitting in the car with my daughter and, I mean, when she was still, and sing the pizza song on my way to the pizza shop, for example. That'd be fun. So sharing that with the parents and with other friends. If you ask about videos and what kind of videos, we have comic stories, real life, round the world, CLIL, animated songs, animated raps, and vocabulary. And you saw a few of them. There are plenty more. There is one, as you will see, for all the lessons. There is something to support it in the multimedia. So you have the interactive student book and the workbook where you see the full pages and you can flip the pages and you can go to specific activities, do the activities, watch the videos, listen to the audios. And as you can see, so for example, in the stories and skills, you have the comic stories and then you have a video to support it again. So again, we bring the stories to life, the same with other sections, in this case, the skills with Mike and Mia, or Mia and Mike, one of the videos you saw. And the same happens with phonics. For example, we have our phonics lessons. They have audios and video for you to watch, for the student to watch, and then to be able to learn. Phonics is a very important part of primary school learning because students are just learning to read and write at that moment. And phonetically, English is actually not always so self-explanatory, if you want. CLIL and Act Smart. I love this idea, Herbert, the Act Smart part, because CLIL lessons are always, have been in language textbooks for quite a while. But actionable things, what can you do? How can we change things? That question and bringing that up amongst the children is fantastic. So again, we have the CLIL lesson with the CLIL videos and then some discussion about what can we do? How can we act smart in front of climate change, for example? Unit projects, the projects don't require any extra materials and it's about imagining, creating and sharing. So kids work together on specific topic or story they want to build or a project they want to present, like building a new home, for example, or what would it be if you wanted to build a new planet and so on. Next, we have a lot of fun and interactive games and challenging activities that are on the website or on the learning management systems, lots of things, picture dictionary, flashcards, and so on. And then unit reviews. The unit reviews are an opportunity for the students to self-reflect on their learning. So they review the lesson reviews, whatever happened in the unit before, plus the students then express with the can-do statements. I can talk about wild animals. I can ask and answer about things. And they say 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots, meaning how well they think they can do that. And that's a good thing because you can see how the students perceive themselves, but also the student can say, oh, I can't really talk about wild animals very well. Well, maybe then they should go back and review that unit a bit more. Okay, and then we have online practice and homework. This is a given with all Helbling courses. You have the cyber homework, which is where you can assign certain tasks. You set a deadline. You can immediately see the results. The homework is self-corrected, so we take a lot of work out of the teacher's hands, and you get a class report. So you see how your students did and if they completed the homework and what kind of mistakes they made. So you know as a teacher how you can feedback on this, and this is very important. You should always feedback on your students' work so they know you care, as Herbert was mentioning earlier. And then finally, assessments and evaluation. So we have a very comprehensive testing package that includes interactive unit progress tests, separate speaking tests, interactive combined tests, which is every 3 units, a test builder software that allows you to create tests on the fly, print them out, and use them in class. Diagnostic tests and all the audio tracks for the tests are included in the software for the teacher and in the teacher's pack. So finally, we have exam preparation for movers and flyers. So for the 2 Cambridge exams are A1 and A2. And that's about it. If this is not enough, and I think it would be enough for most people, but if it is not enough, you have the Helbling graded readers, the Thinking Train, also written by Herbert and Kevin, who are the same authors as the Marble series. We have a Helbling Young Readers, which is a big series also of very interesting and fun readers with projects included, and all of our books prepare for or have additional preparation for the Cambridge exams. And then don't forget, we have the Helbling Readers blog, which is, I would say, such a treasure for years and years of ideas of how you can use readers and reading activities in your classroom. So if you haven't seen Marbles yet, you can always ask for sample copies and sample codes. You can copy this or take a picture of this, and later, if you didn't have time for this, we'll send you a newsletter. It will have the QR code and it will have all the links, and it will include some of the videos, and it will tell you how you can get more information about the series. And that's about it. I think I exceeded my 3 minutes, but I hope it was.
All right. Thank you, Koen. It's a wonderful introduction of Marble. And for all the teachers, if you are interested, we will send you a newsletter of Marble after this webinar, and they were including some songs we actually include in this webinar, so you can share with your colleague and use in your classroom right away. And you can also contact us for product presentations, and we will also send you a sample code. Now we finish this, so the most exciting part comes, is our lucky draw, and the prizes for our Autumn Festival 2023. We are giving away 60 books, including readers, teacher resources, and our course books. So for today's prize from Herbert, you will get a copy of Marble, a copy of Psychology in Practice, which is his latest teacher resource book, and a wonderful series, 2 copies of Thinking Train, I Love a Problem for Prince Percy, and also find the Bully really fun. Bully actually get a winner of the Extension Foundation Award. So it's actually very, very interesting book. All the Thinking Train actually comes with online games and songs and has exam preparation. So now Herbert is going to hit the lucky draw button and announce the winner. We are going to have 3 lucky teachers. So Herbert, are you ready?
I am absolutely ready.
Excellent. Here we go.
Okay. The first prize in today's draw goes to Lourdes Duarte. Congratulations.
Congratulations. The next winner.
Prize number 2, Rocio del Juncal Arevalo. Congratulations.
The third winner.
Last but not least, the prize goes to America Diaz. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You'll receive your...
All right, congratulations, 3 lucky teachers. And our promotion team will contact you and send you your presents as soon as possible. And for all the teachers who attended our webinar today, you will receive a digital copy and our digital certificate and signed by Herbert Puchta. And before we end this session, let's give Herbert a big hand. Thank you very much, Herbert. It's been wonderful. A great talk.
Great talk. Great series. Marble.
Thank you.
Very well in Mexico.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you, Herbert. And We want to say thank you for all the teachers who attend our talk today. On Wednesday, we are going to have another talk by one of the authors of Marvel as well, and his name is Gavin Biggs. He's going to talk about a recipe for readers. And we want to say thank you, and we end with a song we all love, the pizza song. So thank you very much for attending our webinar today, and I will see you on Wednesday. If you haven't registered, please go to helblingmexico.com to register Wednesday's talk. We have total 5 talks for this event. So thank you and goodbye.
Oh, let's go to the shops. There's lots of food to buy. My mother wants a lot of fruit and 1 chicken pie. Oh, let's go to the shops. There's lots of food to see. My dad wants 2 big burgers and a cup of tea.
But pizza is my favorite thing. Pizza, come on now, let's sing. Pizza is my favorite thing. Pizza, come on now, let's sing.
Oh, let's go to the shops. There's lots and lots of food. My friends want lots of burgers. They say they are good. Oh, let's go to the shops. There's lots and lots of food. But pizza is my favorite. Pizza's really good.
But pizza is my favorite thing. Pizza, come on now, let's sing. Pizza is my favorite thing. Pizza, come on now, let's sing.
Okay, thank you. And thank you again for attending our webinar. I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.